Welcome back to another video. So, if you are a practice owner or somebody who is just getting started in the world of opening a business, starting your own practice as a clinician, and you know that you need to do marketing and you've heard that you need to do social media and you just like aren't really sure where to start, you're not sure what you need to be posting online or what really to do. The whole concept of posting online is just really, really overwhelming. This is a video for you. In this video, I'm going to be going over with you how to plan out at least 3 months of content for your practice in about 30 minutes, and we'll watch the clock on this video and see about how long it is going to take. So let's get into that in just a second. Before I jump in, for those of you who are new here, my name is Morgan and I am a physical therapist, and I have owned my own private cash-based PT practice working with CrossFit athletes and in the realm of pelvic health since 2019. And I've been offering business coaching to other clinicians just like me since 2020 who want to learn how to work full-time for themselves so that they never have to go back to the clinic again and you can do whatever you want with the life that you have. That is the main mission here, is to essentially learn how to make your own income using the super valuable skills that you have as a clinician and really find the freedom and flexibility that you've always been looking for. If that's you, stick around. I think this video is going to be really helpful. And if you are in a place where you are looking for guidance and a step-by-step exact plan and roadmap to help you get where you want to go and working for yourself full-time, and you want the help of somebody who's done it before and a couple of our other coaches here on staff as well, we'd love to help you. And we do have some space available in our DPT to CEO coaching program, and you can find more information for that down in the description below. If you're interested, go ahead and fill out an application and we'll schedule a call to talk about it and figure out if we'd be a good fit to work together. Any questions, leave them down below as we get into this. And if you want to help, feel free to reach out and we can definitely talk. Let's talk about what we are talking about today. 3 months of PT practice content in about 30 minutes. So what needs to happen here? Something that I really want to make sure that we discuss with this, and what I have found to be the most helpful way of doing things, I think especially as somebody who has ADHD, separating this entire process into sections has been really helpful, and it's made it a lot less overwhelming for me than trying to do all of it all at one time. So today we are specifically talking about the planning process when it comes to content creation, and then we can get into what is going to be within the sections of creation, publishing, and possibly repurposing. I also wanted to talk about this because the time that I'm filming this, it's the beginning of October and we are getting into National PT Month. So happy PT Month to all the PTs out there. And myself and my marketing assistant, Taylor, we are working on this thing that we are low-key calling Contentception, where we are creating content on our DPT to CEO Instagram. At the same time, we are creating content for my practice Instagram, which is at the Well Physio, to show very specific examples of what, I would put up to help to advertise for my own practice and what I would do for that. So, we're not just talking advice at you as we are doing this, but we're also doing specific examples in real time to show you guys how I would continue to advertise my own practice. I hope that makes sense. But yeah, Contentception 2024. So that's what this video is also a part of, is to show you what our process has been to create the content for the next 3 months for my physical therapy practice. So that's kind of where this is coming from as well. So 3 months of content for PT practice, 30 minutes. So first thing that we need to do, we are getting into the planning phase of this. So I know when I first started making content way back when, I would try to plan it, create it, publish it, repurpose it, do all the editing and everything all in one day. And You can do that. It worked for a while, but then after a while, it did start to get overwhelming as my business continued to grow and I had more clients, I had more appointments and people to see. Time wise, it just got to be a lot. So, if I split this up into smaller pieces, there's things that I can keep up with on a weekly and monthly basis to always make sure that I'm putting content out there without having to do it all at once. So, the planning process is going to be answering a lot of questions, writing a lot of things down, and then scheduling out when and where the content is going to go out. And so we'll talk about that here. Then we'll come back to these pieces. First thing that needs to happen, and go ahead and take out a notebook if you have it available, or open up, your notes app and write things down as you are listening to this, because I think by the end of the video, you'll have a good collection of action steps to take in order to help you start to get into creating more content. So first thing that I want to talk about here is, what are your goals? So what are your goals for content creation? And I know you can see the information down here. We'll just move that for a second so that we can focus here. What are your goals with content creation? And I would encourage most people who are first getting started with this to consider three major goals with their content creation. Because typically in the content that we are creating, and we'll talk about this a little bit later on, most likely you are going to be creating content on Instagram and or TikTok, but I would say most people, it's a little bit easier to start on Instagram. And the second type of content that I highly, highly, highly 1,000% recommend doing, because this is really going to impact your ability to be found on Google, is creating blog content. And if you're not super into writing, stick with me. It does not have to be super complicated, I promise. But most likely, we are going to be creating content on something like Instagram and the blog on your website. And so these are the three main goals that we have for that content. With Instagram posts, I would say, with social media posts, we can really separate our posts into three distinct categories here. So the first type of goal, the first type of content that we can make is something to build awareness and offer education. So if, like you ran into somebody on the street and they had no idea about what physical therapy was, what occupational therapy is, what athletic training is, like anything about your profession, anything about the way that you work with people as a clinician. If you just ran into somebody and they were like blank face, no idea about what it is that you do and how you help people, that's the kind of content that we can create to help to build awareness. And then in a similar vein, we can offer education about clinical topics. So maybe like limiting beliefs or myths that we know, like within the health realm, are out there, and we can offer education through our content to help provide the truth to people in our audience and to our future patients about how to take care of their bodies, and how to be as healthy as possible. So, for example, some different posts that I might include here would be along the lines of, what is physical therapy? I could do, what is physical therapy? What is CrossFit? Education wise, how to breathe and brace, proper lifting technique, education on pelvic floor stuff. And we'll go over some more examples of that later on. But a lot of really like top level stuff, which is what a lot of people do make content about. And then it's the next two goals where sometimes people really like falter with their content marketing. So top level stuff, you're just creating content to put information out there about like what it is that you do. So that is one major goal that is really important, because that is how you are going to attract the most eyeballs to your business and bring interest in. Then the second goal here, that is also obviously very important, because that's how we make the most of the eyeballs that do get to the business, is creating opportunities for engagement to build know, like, and trust. So when people are starting to look at your content, you can do things within your content to encourage people to comment, to message you, to share your post. And that's what we're looking for, is now just like getting into the second goal here, not just they become aware of what it is that you do. So it's not just somebody looking at your content, but somebody actively engaging with it. Likes are fine, but more of what we want is the comments, direct messaging, and sharing and saving of your content, because that is really going to get us what we want here, the know, like, and trust. Because when people in your audience know you, they like you, and they trust you, then they're going to be much more willing to buy from you. And I definitely have another video on the KLT framework here to help you with this marketing stuff. And then goal number 3, making your offer. So this is something that is often missing when it comes to creating content. A lot of people, including myself, I've definitely been guilty of this and have to be very conscious about like including step C here. But a lot of people will stay creating content where you're building awareness and offering education. But, not only do they not offer opportunities for engagement, but they also never tell anybody what their offer is. And then they wonder why they're posting on Instagram, posting on social media is not getting them clients. And sometimes it is as simple as like, you just haven't asked. And I know it probably sounds silly and it sounds simple, but having some kind of call to action in your content or creating content specifically with this purpose in mind of saying, hey, I have services to offer, it's going to make a big difference in actually getting your content to convert. So making the offer and telling people, hello, I have a practice, I have a business, and you can actually work with me for the low, low price of whatever. You can actually pay me to work with me. So including that in your content on a regular basis, I believe is really important so that people know that, like you're not just an educational content creator, but like you actually do offer services. So these are the 3 major goals to keep in mind as you are planning out topics for content creation. You want to have a mix of content where you are able to build awareness, offer education, create opportunities for engagement to build relationships with your audience, and also make your offer. Getting into the important information that we need in order to create the best content for you includes a few different things here. So the first one, your USP, your unique selling proposition. Oftentimes, this is written out as I help XYZ population with ABC problem in order to LMNOP solution or goal. So like with me, like I help CrossFit athletes recover from muscle and joint injuries so that they can work out again pain-free, something like that. You cannot be just the clinician. You can't just be, I'm a PT, I offer physical therapy. You can't just say, I offer occupational therapy, I offer athletic training, I offer chiropractic services. It has to be something more to really get the most out of your content so that people understand how it is you can help them. If it's just physical therapy, and I just put out another video about this either last month or the month before, why marketing PT will not get you clients. Nobody cares. To put it bluntly, if it's just physical therapy, what is in it for them? What is in it for your potential client? What are they really going to get out of working for you? So we have to have a clear understanding and a clear marketing message here on what do you do? Who do you help? What problems do you solve in order to get people to actually like get hooked in a little bit more and to show interest in what it is that you have to offer. And that's the next piece is having a clear offer. So a lot of people will ask me, like what is the best way to market your business? And I always tell people you can use all the tools in the world to market your business, but if you do not have a clear offer, so a clear service that will provide a clear solution, your marketing is probably not going to be effective. So you really need to have a clear way of communicating what it is that you do and how it works so that people are willing to buy from you and take action. And so that is the third piece here. How do people take action to work with you? So say it was like my practice, for example, I help CrossFit athletes get out of pain, right? But I never tell anybody how it is that it works, that I see people one-on-one at the gym or in my garage gym or online. I offer home exercise programs for people to learn how to recover from their injuries independently, things like that. If I never include the how piece, it's also going to be really confusing and hard for people to take action. And one tiny other piece to have with this, especially with creating content, is I really would recommend that you have like one main entry point for people in your audience to take action to work with you. So, for example, this would normally look like when you have content that you're putting out there, your call to action at the end of your content is going to be book a consultation with me to discuss, if we can work together and how I might be able to help. So I think book a consultation is a really good entry point because it allows you to pre-screen everybody before they start working with you. There are some people who are fans of doing that, some people who are not. I'm a big fan of consultations for people that I don't know because like I said, I can pre-screen them, make sure they're a good fit, and then figure out what we're going to do to move forward. So one entry point, and that's also really easy to put on your Instagram profile, is just a link to book a consult with you. And then last piece here, what are the main pillars of what you have to offer? And getting into using a content matrix, which I do believe we have a video on. But basically, as the physical therapist, there are a lot of different things that we can do to help people. But having, I would say, like 3 to 5 main pillars of things that you help people with is really going to help to streamline your content rather than trying to cover everything under the sun all the time. I know for me, I could get into like mobility and stability. I also try to cover stress, diet, and sleep with all of my clients. So, kind of the dimensions of wellness, CrossFit as a whole, pelvic health, which obviously there's a ton that goes into that as well, but maybe more specifically like urinary incontinence in sports. Those are kind of like 4 like major pillars of like things I can help people with. So that's kind of what I mean by that. And those can be really good things to keep in mind as well. Now that we've talked about like what the goals are for content and also the information that we need to create the content, logistics, what are we going to do with it? So like we had talked about before, like I mentioned, what platform are you posting on? I would say Instagram, at least at the time of the recording of this video, probably one of the top platforms to be using as far as social media goes, if not the top for our practices. Second type of content we want to be putting out there is blog content. And blog content, the reason that this is important is because it's going to be a way for you to keep your website up to date, which is good in the eyes of Google. And it's also going to help you with improving your SEO or your search engine optimization, which I do have another video on what that means over the long term. Blog content is also amazing because it basically has an unlimited shelf life. As long as people are searching the keywords to get your blog post to come up, you're going to keep showing up on Google. And that is basically invaluable, especially next to something like Instagram, where your content on Instagram might last a few days to a week at best. According to statistics, the average lifespan of an Instagram post is 24 to 48 hours. That's easy for like the quick wins to get people looking at your business, right now today, but blog content is going to serve you well into the years to come, which I think is a really good investment of your time and energy. And if you have questions on this, we can always do more videos, more podcast episodes about how to create blog content. So we'll choose our platforms. Pick like 1 to 2. I think, these 2 are probably good to start with. How often, what format, when are you going to plan, when you're going to create, and create your content schedule. So how often and what format basically is a content schedule. So with that, I'd recommend with Instagram, a minimum goal, I think, is 3 times a week. If that feels big, start with once a week. Get really consistent for a month or 2 at posting once a week, and then bump it up to 2, and then bump it up to 3, so that it just becomes easier and easier over time. But at least 3 times a week, I would say. Blog content at least once a week. Again, if that feels like too much, go for at least once a month, then twice a month, then once a week. It really is going to make a huge difference for people finding your website for your practice. And then as we are getting into the pieces down here, and this is kind of similar to what I had written up top before, we've done some planning already, right? So we understand what the goals are So, three basic buckets on the lens that we're going to use to create these three major types of content. The information that we need to help us tailor our content to the audience that we're looking for. And we've talked about some logistics as far as what platforms we're going to post on and how often. So, that's kind of like top level planning. And then the second stage of planning is actually plotting out on your calendar when you want to publish the post and then work your way back. Let's say next week, today's Thursday. Next week, if I want to publish on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I would try to create all three of those posts no later than Sunday so that I can schedule them out. In that way, starting to like pre-plan everything, you're going to make sure that you're always ahead of schedule and you always have content consistently coming out instead of trying to always create content the same day, because then if life stuff happens, you're not going to post your content. Schedule things out well into the future. So after we've gone through all this stuff today, right, now we can start to plan out when you want to start posting. So we'll start scheduling posts for at least a week away, maybe 2 weeks away, so that you have time to do this planning and scheduling. And then the week before, you can schedule time to actually create the posts, writing copy, doing filming, editing, and you can also plan time to plan for the actual content topics. So these are like all the pieces that I really try to break up. So in like a typical like 2 week period, for example, during week 1, I will do all of the planning and writing of a YouTube video. And then the following week, I actually do the filming, and then it doesn't really actually get published depending on our schedule for like a couple weeks to another month away. So that's like the timeline that I usually work on. And it's going to be different for you, but just going back to like what I was saying, the further ahead you can get, better off you're going to be in terms of staying consistent. And that's really the key to content marketing, is the consistency as well as the volume. So I hope that all makes sense, but please leave comments and questions down below. And then the last piece. So Morgan, what are we actually posting? Great question. So here's how we can come up with some content ideas in the blink of an eye. If you have not worked with old ChatGPT yet, highly recommend it. Super, super helpful. My disclaimer to everybody though is that whenever I use it to create content, it is always understanding that it's going to be a rough draft. Very rarely do I ever just pop something into ChatGPT and then copy and paste it and post it. But I really love to use it to help me break writer's block, and it will help me with getting at least the rough draft, the first version. Then I can either have the AI go back in and edit things a certain way, or I can edit it. Don't just copy and paste whatever it says. Go through and read it yourself, make edits, make updates, make sure things are factually accurate, both like from a clinical perspective, but also for your business, and then you can use it. So here is what we had added in to ChatGPT. So it just opened up the prompt and said, my physical therapy practice works with CrossFit athletes and women on pelvic health issues. Can you create a list of content ideas for my practice with 24 Instagram posts, 12 blog posts, and 4 monthly newsletters? And this goes back to our planning stuff, right? So if we are looking at 3 months of content, 12 weeks, we are wanting to schedule here in this example, this would be 2 Instagram posts a week, but you can always ask it to do 3 and increase that up to, that would be 36 Instagram posts, 12 blog posts, so 1 blog post a week, and 4 monthly newsletters. And I know we didn't talk about email marketing in this video. That's definitely something that is coming down the pipeline as far as these YouTube videos go. So make sure to subscribe if you're interested in learning more about that. Button is just down below. But this is the list of assets that we need in order to create content for the next 3 months. And then ChatGPT says, here is all your stuff, focusing on your PT practice working with these types of clients. So Instagram content, we have educational content here, right? So we had talked about that as far as like one of our goals for our content up top. Back at the beginning, different topics like the importance of pelvic health in CrossFit athletes, mobility versus stability for strong lifts, preventing pelvic floor dysfunction, the role of breathing. I talk about that with everybody. And you can see that there are little descriptions here to help you write something. So then with this, you could either write something yourself or you take this exact prompt here and put it back into ChatGPT and say, can you write an Instagram post for me on this and have it come up with something? And you can even ask it too for like, what kind of graphics should I put? What kind of reel should I make? And it will help to give you some directions and some ideas for that. Ultimately, remember, you are the deciding factor here, but just something to keep in the back of your mind. And then some different types of showcasing content, something that I definitely need to be able to do more is including client testimonials, but there's some different examples here behind the scenes, like showing what an appointment looks like, I think would be great content. Here's a piece where we are focusing on engagement. So Q&A, true or false, common myths, a poll, sharing your biggest challenge, a quiz, telling us your fitness goals, and then results. So more client success stories and testimonials here. And that's all the Instagram content. And then getting into blog content, 12 different posts. Why CrossFit athletes need pelvic health PT, protecting your pelvic floor during high impact workouts, top 5 mobility exercises for CrossFit athletes, preventing and recovering from common CrossFit injuries, and then email newsletter topics. So celebrating physical therapy month and content challenge. November, importance of pelvic health and fitness. December, end of year reflection. January, new year, new goals. And there's information in here. And it even put together calls to action for each of the email newsletters where we are inviting people to follow us on Instagram, book consultations, schedule appointments, and potentially doing some kind of special offer for new clients in the new year. So we did all this planning right here at the beginning. And this is the first piece that is going to help you a ton in terms of getting your content marketing game going is just planning. What do you want to do? What do you want to communicate? What's your offer? And how are you going to get it out there? Instead of diving right into just making an Instagram post, reel it back, have a little bit more intention and purpose behind it, and a full understanding of what it is that you want to put out there and why, and then utilize the tools at your disposal, like ChatGPT, to actually help you come up with the details of the content and go from there. So I hope that this was helpful to see. Definitely let me know what questions you have and make sure to follow us at The Well Physio to see in action these Instagram posts. And you can check out the website, thewellphysio.com, as well to see the blog posts as they come up. But it's my hope that these specific examples are going to be helpful for you to see as you are marketing for your own practice. And again, if you want any help along the way, if you are just getting started in your practice, or if you're having trouble getting past 3 to 5 clients a week, definitely schedule a consultation with me, and you can find the link down below. I'll be happy to help talk through things and see, what advice I can offer. And we can also talk about the different coaching services and courses that we have available to help you to grow into a full caseload, the business of your dreams, and most importantly, never going back to the clinic again. So with that, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you on the next episode.